This is the NewsFeed at 4.
We start off with breaking news out of Austin and San Antonio. Glad you could join us. I'm Victor Aldana. Horrific shooting rampage left 6 people dead Tuesday. All of these shootings were allegedly committed by this man, 34-year-old Shane James. We're told it started with the discovery of 2 bodies in a home near San Antonio early Tuesday. The suspect left the scene and headed north to Austin, where he is suspected of killing 4 more people, including a couple at the scene of a burglary. After police responded to the burglary, the man allegedly shot and injured a police officer. Officials believe James is also responsible for shooting an Austin ISD officer and a cyclist in the area. The injuries are non-life-threatening and any connection is still under investigation. We also have new details following the Fort Worth Community Credit Union shooting of Tarrant County Sheriff's Deputy Brent Brown. Newly released body and security camera video shows the dramatic moments when a man opened fire at Deputy Brown. Take a look at this. First, it looks like a typical day, but moments later, the man draws a gun and begins shooting. Deputy Brown suffered mortal wounds to the shoulder and abdomen. Video shows him standing back up and sending return fire at 35-year-old suspect Leland Williams. Police say Williams was trying to rob that bank, saying he was there to open a new account using a false name. Deputy Brown is improving today, walking once again, but recovery can take months. Police say the suspect refuses to speak with them, so we still don't know his motive. The Texas Department of Family and Protective Services is asking for the public's help identifying a child who was dropped off at Baylor's ER in Dallas on Monday. The girl told hospital workers that her name is Alejandra. They said she may be 6 years old. Officials shared that they believe her mother left her at the hospital. Alejandra wasn't able to give any identifying information to find relatives. Anyone with information about the girl is urged to contact Maria Villegas at 214-901-4649. Tarrant County College recently partnered with Unify America in the 5th biannual Unify Challenge College Bowl. Thousands of students from 104 universities across 40 states joined the virtual event to share perspective across differences. TCC was one of the leaders, the experience with 185 students participants. Among those, 59% say they feel more hopeful about the future of democracy, and 62% said they were more likely to share their point of view on political or current events in class or on campus. Dallas County has fallen victim to a cyber crime, and it cost county taxpayers $2.4 million. Dallas County commissioners were briefed on potential fraudulent payment that was wired after a county employee received a fake email message impersonating one of the county's partners. The email looked like it was from one of the county's vendors asking for payment. In reality, it was a phishing email that ultimately convinced a county employee to wire more than $2 million. Evidence has been turned over to the FBI. State law requires all government employees to undergo cybersecurity awareness training. This training includes how to spot phishing emails. Genetic testing firm 23andMe says hackers have accessed nearly 7 million customer profiles. In some cases, that includes users' ancestry reports, zip codes, and birth years. The company's filing with the Securities and Exchange Commission said roughly 14,000 of the company users' accounts were breached by the hackers. 23andMe is standing by that number, but is also now saying hackers were able to access some 5.5 million profiles. Arlington County, Virginia, not Texas, fire crews continue to battle small spot fires after a home exploded as police responded to a call Monday night. Here's that video of that explosion. This happened after police attempted to execute a search warrant following reports of a flare gun being fired. Police say the suspect discharged a flare gun 30 to 40 times from inside his residence into the surrounding neighborhood, leading to the home exploding as you just saw. Police believe the suspect was the only person inside when the home exploded. The fire is now under control. Several officers sustained minor injuries, but none were taken to a hospital. The incident remains under investigation. Still to come, we're learning more about the mutilated Longhorn outside a frat house over the weekend. Plus, Governor Abbott scores a temporary win on border security.
Oh man, I can't believe I'm missing this. Okay, Grandma. I see you.
Don't get stuck at home with the flu. A flu shot is the best way to prevent the flu and its potentially serious complications. It keeps you, your community, and loved ones protected. Don't get flu FOMO. Learn more at getmyflushot.org.
We're all just trying to keep things running for those who rely on us. That's why we don't have time to be sick with the flu.
We don't have time for delays.
We don't have time for spills.
Next.
We don't have time for setbacks. Let's be real.
Getting the flu shot
Helps you fight the flu.
Get a flu shot for yourself and those around you too.
Police are still searching for the person responsible for mutilating this longhorn. You may remember this from last weekend leading up to the Texas versus OSU Big 12 title game. According to a recent news release, though, the longhorn died of disease before it was illegally dumped on the OSU frat lawn. As Jason Berger reports, the shock was felt all across campus.
It's kind of gross and kind of unfortunate.
Almost everywhere you go in Stillwater, someone knows about it. Police are investigating after someone dumped a dead longhorn steer on the front lawn of the farmhouse fraternity.
I'm not saying that justifies it by any stretch, but it's not inherently surprising.
Farmhouse did release a statement saying they're working with local authorities in their investigation and said in part, quote, "No farmhouse member was involved in this incident, and we do not condone cruelty or defacing livestock in any manner." We even knocked on the farmhouse door to see if they would speak to us, but no one answered.
Its back was turned to you, and then when you walked around towards the front of the house, then you could see the letters that had been carved into it, and that was really jarring.
Kennedy Thomason is a student at OSU. She's also a writer for the campus newspaper, The Ocali. She talked to me on Zoom as she was on her way down to help cover the Big 12 title game in Texas this weekend. But she started her day seeing the dead longhorn herself.
I was about a block away, so I hopped up and went over there.
Since the animal was discovered around 6:40 this morning, she says there's a similar sentiment around campus.
I don't think it reflects the culture of OSU at all. I think a lot of students that I've heard from were really disappointed to see something like this happen directly before a really big game for us.
And there are still questions, like where did the animal come from, as police look for answers.
From the way it looked like it had been dead for a while before it was dumped in front of farmhouse. So that's definitely something I would like to know.
Now to the southern border, where federal agents are prohibited from tampering with the Razor security wire. Monday, the 5th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals granted Texas a temporary stay in the state's fight against the Biden administration. The Razor wire was installed through Governor Greg Abbott's border security initiative. In a lawsuit filed in October, Texas alleged federal agents were destroying state property by cutting the Razor wire. The temporary order effectively freezes the case while it goes through the courts. As migrants continue to cross along the southern border, Border Patrol agents working the scene each day explain what can and has been found.
They just open it up and they just tell them to walk, let them in. Sometimes they don't even have a guide with them.
Efrain Mercado has been with Border Patrol for 16 years. As a member of the Confined Space Entry Team for 11 years, he says he's seen the worst of what happens when people risk everything to cross the border.
Storm drains. They take these toy guns and they spray them completely black.
We've had a couple of people die in there. A lot of children. You know, people will do anything to get through.
Border Patrol says the city's drain system is like a maze. There are numerous entrances and exits, and while agents know where they are, they can't always get to them all.
We don't know about it or we haven't checked it, and then we find out about it and then they switch tactics. So they're really smart. They know what they're doing.
Border Patrol advises of the dangers of entering confined spaces like this one because they are complete in darkness and you can run into a hole like this one that can lead to several injuries.
And we've seen a lot of broken legs, A lot of injuries to the feet and head.
Border Patrol says the storm drains can become dangerous due to the air quality and the flash floods that forms after heavy rain. But smugglers and migrants aren't fazed by the potential dangers as they're so close to seeing the light at the end of the tunnel.
What really pulls at the heartstrings is those children, you know. A lot of these are families, and they're just trying to make it through like everybody else.
4 presidential candidates took the debate stage on Wednesday night in an effort to chip away at the former President Donald Trump's commanding lead in the polls. Julia Benbrook was there and has the highlights.
In a debate without the frontrunner, the remaining Republican White House hopefuls making their case to voters in Alabama.
I have delivered results. That's what we need for this country.
I have been a conservative fighter all my life.
It is going to take a leader from the outside with fresh legs from the next generation to unite this country.
It's often very difficult to be the only person on the stage who's telling the truth.
Front and center, former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley, positioning herself as the best alternative to Donald Trump.
I love all the attention, fellas. Thank you for that.
Her key rival, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, trying to jumpstart his campaign, less than 6 weeks before the first votes are cast in Iowa.
We know from her history, Nikki will cave to those big donors when it counts, and that is not acceptable.
The two going at it on a range of issues, including the economy and foreign policy.
If you harm an American service member, you're going to have hell to pay when I'm president. We are not going to let our troops be sitting ducks.
I dealt with Iran every day when I was at the United Nations, and they only respond to strength.
The other two candidates on stage, former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie and businessman Vivek Ramaswamy, looking for their own scene-stealing moments.
I mean, Nick, if you can't tell the difference between where Israel is and the U.S. is on a map, I can have my 3-year-old son show you the difference.
As for former President Trump, the candidates on stage insisting that it's time to move on.
The idea that we're going to put someone up there that's almost 80 and there's going to be no effects from that, we all know that that's not true.
He is unfit to be president, and there is no bigger issue in this race, Megan, than Donald Trump.
The fight to limit civilian deaths shows no signs of stopping. We'll have that latest on the war in the Middle East, plus how it's taking a toll on the Texas legislature.
Honey, what I think you need is a socket wrench.
I played JV basketball.
I'm sorry. I don't think it looks right.
This is good, and it's all good, baby.
Is it really all good?
If you love me enough to routinely test your handyman skills, not to mention the strength of your marriage, then of course you'll visit nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat to make sure I'm in the right car seat.
I'm gonna call my dad.
I am what hunger looks like in America. I am an 8-year-old girl who's not excited for the last day of school. Because this may be the last time I'll have lunch.
Till September.
I am a single father of 2 who works 3 part-time jobs, and that's still not enough to put food on the table. I was created by artificial intelligence from faces of the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger.
Feeding America, 200 food banks strong.
Put a frog in a pot of boiling water and it'll jump right out. But put a frog in a pot of cool water and slowly heat it up, and that frog will boil. As veterans, we can tell ourselves the lie that it's easier to stay in that boiling water, to disconnect. But you've never been interested in easy. You are not a frog.
Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Welcome back to the news feed. I'm Chuck Ambrose. We're looking at a gorgeous afternoon as we look out across West 7th Street in Fort Worth. We have sunny skies, a nice breeze, and we look to top off the day at 71. Right now, we're just shy of that at 68 here at the Northeast Campus. Across the Metroplex, our temperatures range from 67 in Denton to 69 over in Granbury. Downtown Dallas sitting at 67, while just a bit north of McKinney, it's 68. We'll see sunset at 5:22 this afternoon, and then temperatures will begin to cool off, 63 at 8 and 10 and 62 at midnight. Checking out our weekend forecast, we start off the day tomorrow at around 49 degrees by the time you get up. Then we'll get a last kiss of spring-like temperatures as we warm up to 77 Friday afternoon. Saturday, we see a bit of a cold front move in as morning temperatures dip to the mid 30s with a high Saturday afternoon of 60 and 57 on Sunday. By the time you get back to work on Monday, we'll warm up just a bit with a morning low of 48 and a high right around 63. Look for more of the same on Tuesday. Then Tuesday night into Wednesday, temperatures start to drop off again with a low Wednesday morning of 39 and a high of only 52. We look for a plume of moisture currently over Mexico to migrate towards North Texas and bring some showers Thursday and Friday. The high clouds will keep our overnight temperature lows in the upper 30s and highs in the lower 50s. The small system should clear out by next weekend with highs on Saturday and Sunday 55 and 56 respectively. Overall, Victor, I'd say get out and enjoy this weekend and get ready to break out a light jacket or sweater next week.
Thank you, Chuck. Now on to the war in the Middle East, which continues to intensify following the conclusion of a ceasefire with Israel ramping up fighting in the Gaza Strip. New satellite images show Israeli armored vehicles in southern Gaza. United Nations officials say the situation there is, quote, apocalyptic, with nowhere safe to go and civilian casualties rapidly increasing. Dozens of Israeli armored vehicles are now operating there, and the images show the vehicles to the west of the Gaza's main north-south route. Tracks on the ground show they drove to the location in a near direct line from the Israel-Gaza border in the east. U.S. authorities have urged Israel on multiple occasions to try to minimize civilian casualties as fighting moves into southern Gaza. CNN's Jeremy Diamond joined us with more. Jeremy, what can you tell us?
Well, they've been focusing on those evacuation warnings. They've been dropping those leaflets urging people to evacuate and also sharing that QR code with a map that divides Gaza up into hundreds of districts. That's what we've been hearing a lot from Israeli military officials. But the feasibility and the effectiveness of those methods appears to be in serious question. There's not a lot of internet connectivity in Gaza right now. And people, again, are being told to move to areas where there's already overcrowding. 80% of Gaza's civilian population is already internally displaced, and so people are really just having to face impossible choices right now.
Thank you, Jeremy. Republican Party leaders in Austin are drawing condemnation from both sides of the aisle following a vote by the group to pass two pro-Israel resolutions that both condemn anti-Semitism, but it also voted to remove a clause in one resolution that would have banned the GOP from associating with anti-Semites, Nazi sympathizers, and others. Michael Atkinson has the latest.
In a vote sharply criticized by folks on both sides of the aisle, the Texas State Republican Executive Committee, or SREC, voted against a resolution over the weekend that would have prohibited Republicans from dealing with anti-Semites, Nazi sympathizers, and Holocaust deniers.
I will stand here today and show my children that I practice what I preach. And I hope that every single member on this body does the same.
That was one line of a lengthy resolution backing Israel and condemning anti-Semitism, but that line was voted down by the SREC, which governs the Texas GOP by a vote of 32 to 29.
Who decides what anti-Semitism is? Who decides what association is? Who decides when it crosses a line where we have to give up our association with those people?
Texas GOP Chair Matt Rinaldi abstained from voting, but did speak briefly about the resolution on Saturday.
I don't think there would be any difference in the way we've operated because I don't see any anti-Semitic, pro-Nazi, or Holocaust denial movement on the right that has any significant traction whatsoever.
That vote comes 2 months after the Texas Tribune reported the head of an outspoken conservative organization met with white supremacist Nick Fuentes. And quickly thereafter, state leaders condemned that vote. House Speaker Dade Phelan, who's been at odds with Rinaldi for months, calling that vote despicable. But arguably more important, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, who's been closely aligned with Rinaldi and the GOP, criticized that vote as well, saying he's confident that the SREC will correct this at their next meeting. Not affirming this language is totally unacceptable to me.
This is one more internal fight inside the Republican Party that is going to be part of the background to the fights that we see unfold.
Coming up next, students at Roanoke College are looking to make toys more friendly for those with disabilities.
I taught for 20 years, but I started forgetting my lectures. Eventually, he had to quit. My therapist recommended we go to the doctor. The early Alzheimer's diagnosis allowed us to take control of the situation. He's been such a positive force and so loving. Thank you. You're welcome.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
I surrender.
All right, pal. Get ready for the day, buddy.
Hey, Dad. Hey, Dad. Do we have a gun?
What's that?
Do we have a gun?
I don't remember how it started.
Go to Dad.
Oh, boy.
Our back and forth. It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
A week ago today, Buffalo Bills linebacker Von Miller turned himself into the Glen Heights police following an arrest warrant issued for the NFL player accusing him of assaulting his pregnant girlfriend of 7 years. Wednesday morning, the charge is a third-degree felony, and police say Miller posted a $5,000 bond and was released. A flight out of Orlando quickly diverted to Jacksonville Tuesday evening after an incident between passengers. The two were arrested, and those on board say it was a tense situation after talks of a bomb on the airplane. Ben Ryan has the details.
Hey, gentlemen, I apologize for messing up your travel plans.
Apologies from a handcuffed man who flight passengers say was the reason their plane to Providence made an emergency landing in Jacksonville. The FBI is investigating what officials called an onboard incident. Passengers like Rachel Corrigan said there was a bomb threat, saying that it started as some sort of conflict between two people before they boarded and continued just before takeoff.
The guy said, "I'll tell the people that you have a bomb in your bag." And she said, I'll tell them you have weapons on you.
It happened on Breeze Airways Flight 717 going to Providence after it left Orlando. Video from passengers on board show an up-close angle of a man and woman being taken off the plane in handcuffs. The second video shows the man being walked out, followed by an applause. Passengers I spoke with said the two are arrested. Action News Jax is working to learn who they are and what charges they will be facing. Tanya McGinn said authorities came on the plane after they grounded in Jacksonville.
Lots of police came on the plane. Those two got taken away. Then the bomb dog came on, and they just kept telling us everyone needed to stay seated, don't get up, don't move, everyone stay seated. Honestly, I thought it was scary. Like 9/11 was flashing in my head is actually the thing, and I grabbed my phone and started texting people.
Passengers told me once they were diverted, they were kept on the plane for over an hour.
We have been sitting here without answers and then without direction, and now we're stuck here. We can book our own hotel and get reimbursed and come back and fly out tomorrow.
Being in the hospital is tough on anyone at any age, but when it's children, that's when it's really tough. Our own Lauren Harper explains that's why this group of students and staff are doing their best to help these little ones smile.
Toys Like Me at Roanoke College is a group of students and faculty modifying toys to reflect kids with disabilities and medical issues. Roanoke College professor Francis McCutcheon founded the not-for-profit 7 years ago.
The kids get the toys before their surgery, and the toys are explained to them. The surgery is explained to them on the toy, which is more respectful in many cases, especially for kids who don't like to be touched.
Like, you go to the store, you don't really see many toys with disabilities. It's nice to have something that looks and represents you.
Victoria Fobb is a senior at Roanoke College. She's been part of Toy Like Me since freshman year.
Making their Christmas normal would be one word, but I think the word we prefer is inclusive. That their Christmas is just like anybody else's Christmas.
Fobb's mom is a teacher for kids with disabilities. She says she's happy there's a community effort to making kids feel seen.
So I've always kind of been around kids with disabilities, but it means a lot to me that there's an organization like this that helps modify toys.
The donations to the Rail Yard Dogs come to us, we modify them, and then we send them on to Carillion. So It's a whole community effort now.
The toys will go to kids at Carl Leon's Hospital during Roanoke College's exam week before Christmas.
When the kids are smiling and laughing and their parents haven't seen them smile in so long, or they're coming out of surgery and they're in pain, but this little smile comes out, it means so much to the moms and dads too.
The kids should get the toys in time for Christmas. For the NewsFeed at 4, I'm Lauren Harper.
A stroke survivor is defying all odds in the boxing ring, plus an unlikely police chase you won't want to miss. Keep it here, we'll be right back.
I tell my son, I love you every single day. I love you. Now, my dad has never said that to me. Not because he doesn't love me, but because culturally it wasn't comfortable for him. Now that he's a grandfather, he says, I love you to my son every time he sees him. My advice to all the fathers out there, forget the cultural restrictions. They grow up way too fast for you to waste even a single precious moment.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here. Wait. What? I can't drive. Why? My. Oh.
How you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Thank you.
A place to make my own, a place that I call home, this place that I call home.
Need a ride? Yeah!
Driving with kids is a big responsibility.
Hop in and buckle up!
So don't sweat the small stuff.
You got paint all over our paper!
Get the big stuff right instead.
What does that mean?
Like making sure your kids are in the correct car seat and buckled up for safer travel.
That deserves a wiggly wiggly wig!
To make sure your child is in the right seat for their age and size, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Sofia Gedgaudas had to learn to walk, talk, and chew food again after the stroke she suffered at the age of 19. But what she trains for now is short of spectacular.
Before she was training to win a title fight at Blizzard World 2023 as Harley Jane, Sofia Gedgaudas was in a fight for her life. At the age of 19, Lily Gedgaudas' daughter was left paralyzed following a rare stroke.
For the 2 hours, we prayed, You call up all your friends, but you get prepared to say goodbye.
The odds were stacked against the young woman. They hadn't faced a fighter like this.
If someone tells me I can't do it, I have to go and do it.
Sofia survived the surgery, but her road to recovery was going to be anything but easy. She had to learn to walk again, talk again, how to chew food, then an unlikely solution.
After physical therapy, about having a hard day, I would turn on wrestling, and it saved my life.
In 2021, on a trip to Chicago to watch the All Elite Wrestling Tour, everything clicked.
And I told my mom and my dad, hey, I can do it. Why not me? I hope one day to be with WWE or AEW. I know I will one day.
On Saturday night, the 24-year-old Harley Jane's focus is on the Great Lakes Championship Wrestling title belt. As for Sofia, she hopes her journey will inspire others to never give up.
It was hard for me to keep going, but I did it with my family and my friends, and wrestling. She's a fighter. She's never going to stop fighting.
Incredible. Airbnb wants to host one family in the North Pole. Well, maybe about as close as you can get. The company is giving away 3 nights at a cabin decked out in Christmas decor in northern Finland. And just take a look at this winter wonderland. Dubbed Santa's Cabin, the home is in Rovaniemi. The town has what it calls the official Santa Claus post office, and the winners can volunteer to help sort through thousands of letters there. They'll even be supplied with elf attire to help get into the spirit. It's the latest theme adventure stay Airbnb has been offering, like the Ghostbusters, Firehouse, and Scooby-Doo Mystery Machine. This was anything but your typical police chase. A couple of officers in Deptford, New Jersey, a suburb of Philadelphia, had their hands full on Tuesday as they tried to round up a 4-year-old pig that got loose. The officers eventually caught the pig, but it was no easy feat. The pig's name is Albert Einswine. It's unclear how he got free, but after the pig went hog wild, police returned him to his owners. That is all for today. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week.